Hi guys, welcome back. It's your host Jamie.
And Jamie, and we are so happy that you're here. It's been so long, it feels like.
We actually have not filmed in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, because we were a little bit ahead, but now we are not ahead. And this episode actually drops in like 3 days.
Yes, and
But
it's just been crazy. I feel like ever since the beginning, we've had kind of these hurdles that we've had to jump over, and we were like ready for them to end. But I feel like they haven't ended. But I do feel like that shows just like we really do want to do this and like put it out there. And
yeah, well, I feel like we're
hard.
at the tail end of all the craziness. I feel like
That's
things
true.
are finally starting to settle down.
It's true.
At least for me, I don't know.
No, I feel like too, like I just have like editing under my hand a little better. So like even when, you know, it goes up in 3 days, but like I can knock it out easy. So like,
You're like, I'm a professional.
No. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
we'll be fine. And I can't believe this is our second to last episode of the season.
I know. This is number 9. That's crazy.
That's weird.
It's so weird to think of like where we started versus like where we are now. Like when we started, I was so anxious and like do you remember the first episode that we recorded that we didn't even release?
Yes.
But we were like sobbing.
Yes. We were
Thank
crying.
you, Lord, for making that like not
I'm so glad we did not post that.
Yeah, it was
because
rough.
oh my gosh, yeah, we were crying.
Yeah.
Couldn't help. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I feel like it was like just like we were just so overwhelmed the fact that we had this platform and we didn't really like we were just like, okay, like
let's just
here's
do it.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, here's everything I've ever been through.
No, literally, and that was
I'm definitely
not...
an oversharer.
Oh, me too. But I feel like I don't know. It's all a learning thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very glad, you know, we had that first episode and I'm very glad it didn't work out so that we didn't put it out there because
Exactly.
I think we needed that just to like know what it's like to like
Yeah.
look at a camera
Yeah.
or just like speak in like,
Yeah.
oh, a lot of people are going to be hearing this.
Yeah, and I think we've welcomed God into our conversations a lot more rather than us just like
Which I feel like that I struggle with that still. I think like
and it's okay. Like it's both. It's a mix of both.
Well, I think it's one thing like I definitely want to get better at, but like I've kind of felt this, which I guess kind of leading into what we're talking about today. I felt this like unworthiness kind of to do this. I think we both have felt that. Like, like I can't think of like a verse in the Bible off the top of my head and just like say it. And I mean, there are some stories in the Bible I can like talk about, you know, like Jonah being swallowed by the whale, but like that's it. Like I feel like I've just had this like, why me? Like, how am I capable of this? Like I've almost wanted to like quit because I'm like, I'm just a girl in her who's 20 who really hasn't had like, I feel like I haven't experienced a lot of things that I think a lot of other people have, and I think that's like made me feel unworthy of sharing what I know or like sharing. I feel like I have this expectation for myself to be so knowledgeable and speak perfectly, and I think it's so hard to be in this position and not, you know, think those thoughts of like, why am I doing this? Because I feel like why me? I don't think I can do this, but it was put on our hearts.
Yeah, but I think that's super real. I think that I struggle with like, who's gonna listen to me and care about what I have to say. And for a while I was like texting my friends every time an episode dropped, and I'd be like, oh, I sound so stupid. Like I would just pick myself apart after every episode, and they were like, dude, chill out. Like, why are you doing this if you're not like, you know, feeling good from it? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like,
no,
it's
that's
really
so true.
And the name of our podcast is literally Audience of One, and I feel like for a while at least I was like just so scared of like saying the wrong thing or trying to sound perfect. Like I very much so regret not taking public speaking classes, but like no one has taken that. Like it's fine. Like we're literally just two ordinary girls with like an amazing opportunity to start this, and we did it. And season 1 is being wrapped up in 2 episodes, which is crazy. So yeah, I mean,
no, I think I'm
proud of us.
I'm really proud of us too. I feel like we really stepped out of our comfort zone with this, and I don't know. I am looking back at like our first episode, second episode, even our like 4th episode probably. Like I just feel different, to be honest.
I'm like, I never want to even see those episodes again.
I know. I've started like, I don't know if I want to like go back and watch them because I'm just going to kind of cringe a little bit. Because I do feel like after each episode a little bit, we'd be like, oh, why did I say that? Or what am I doing? Like, why am I scratching my arm? Like, what? Yeah. And just like little nitpicky things.
Sometimes I like when you're talking, I'm like looking off into the distance. Like
I'm
last
always
episode
looking
with Taylor, I looked like I wanted to kill you. Like I looked so angry at you. Like you need to go back and watch it because I literally look like a heffalump, like a mad heffalump.
Oh my gosh, no! I only listen to it. I don't watch them.
Oh, okay.
Because I
just feel
I nitpick, but also like I listen to it in the car, and I think like that helps me focus on it better. But also like it's just better to listen to me than to like watch. I don't know.
I get it.
But yeah, no, I'm always looking over there.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Like I'm like I work on our eye contact.
So I'm like, hey guys, no, I'm just kidding. But today we kind of just wanted to talk about something that everyone I think goes through is like how being a human in this world hurts so bad. Like the hurt that we feel on a daily basis is huge. And it's like, how are we supposed to like manage that as a Christian and as a follower of Jesus? Like, why are we put through the things that we're put through? Why do we feel the pain that we feel? And I don't know, I think something I really want to work on is being more vulnerable. Because I think I put up a huge front. Like a lot of the time I'm like, I am expected to be this perfect person. And I'm going to get emotional this episode, but which working on getting vulnerability. But I like always have to be that perfect person. And I think that like, I've always been like that. Like growing up, always just had to be like, okay, I'm the one that everyone's leaning on. Like I have to have it all together. And I think even now, like with this podcast or like with any of the friends I have or family, like I expect myself to hold it together for everyone. But that is not easy. And one day you crack. And I had that moment like 2 weeks ago. I literally was like crying and I was like, I am so unworthy of this. Like I am so sad. Like I feel so alone. And I kind of realized obviously after the fact, like I'm not alone obviously, and like I have all these things, but like why am I feeling so alone in life? Like everything's going great for me. Like I have best boyfriend I could ever even ask for. I have the best family and friends I could ever ask for. Like everyone's treating me so nice. I have like God is so good and like everything's so beautiful, but like why I feel alone and I feel sad. And I think like through every moment, like even referencing back to like our anxiety episode, like I feel like sometimes I don't speak maybe like how I mean to. And so I first want to like apologize if I ever came off sounding like you can't be anxious in Christian, or you can't be sad in Christian, or you can't be depressed in Christian. Like that's so like not it. And it like thinking about that too, like it hurts me because I never want to be like seen as someone who thinks that, because I go through these emotions too. Like I battle anxiety on a daily basis. I battle sad, like being sad. I don't want to say I've ever been like depressed. I don't know that. Like I've had times where I've thought, but maybe, you know, like I've never been to the doctor for that. But I feel like being Christian it's such a beautiful thing, but it does bring a lot of heartache in the sense that sometimes you feel these expectations, and I'm kind of just speaking for myself to be honest, but I feel these expectations to be perfect, to say everything exactly perfectly to a T, and like have it together, know what my plans in life are, like go to church every Sunday, tithe every paycheck, like show, like I don't know, just be perfect. And I can't do that. And that hurts me because I want to be perfect. Like I want to represent Jesus how he is. And I think a lot of people are hurt from people, other Christians who like might be misrepresenting in a way. And I like am so worried of like, I don't want other people to feel that for me or feel like I'm forcing it on them or feel like I'm invalidating their feelings or anything like that. So like that's something I have been struggling with, is like being vulnerable and letting myself like actually feel the emotions. And I think that this episode is just gonna help a lot with letting that go. And like I feel like every episode we make, like we both after that episode we're like, okay, we're gonna really work on this. Like I never want it to seem like I come on here and I'm like, I know everything, let me tell you exactly how, like my life is perfect now, so let me tell you how to do it. Like that is not it. And I simply want it to be just like we're doing this together, and like I'm not alone and you're not alone and you're not alone. Like we are all together in these feelings, because being human in this world hurts. So if you want to open up on your end, I'm like over here, I'm like, oh no,
that was good. I was taking it all in, and it's like hard for me to listen to you be so hard on yourself, because I know your heart like the back of my hand. So you know, it's a gamble. We do a podcast. It's a gamble of how people are going to perceive certain things. And there's one side where we do want to be very cautious about what we talk about. There's another side where we have to be authentic, and we have to be, if we have this platform, we have to say what we feel is what God put in our mouths to say. I think that you have always spoken with a lot of grace and respect. I think anxiety is a very hard topic to talk about. But I love you. I love your heart. I love who you are. And I don't want you to think that you did anything wrong or said anything wrong. But yeah, we do just want to be very cautious.
Yeah. It's like a hard line. It's like, okay, how do I be cautious while being authentic like you said? Like, it's hard.
Yeah, because we would never want someone to say like, oh, I have anxiety, I'm not welcome there. Or I have depression, I can't be a Christian. Because like that's so far from the truth. Like God wants the anxious and the depressed. Like he wants them,
to the brokenhearted.
Exactly. Like he wants them so badly. Like they're so accepted. So if that's like ever how we came across, that's not what we meant. But yeah,
it's just been on, I feel like it's just been on both of our hearts. We've been like looking back as we're getting to the end and like looking back on previous episodes. We're like, okay, obviously we learn as we go. Like we could have said this better, we could have said that better, or like, oh, that did not come off how I meant it when you listen to it or whatever. So instead of like kind of just, okay, next episode, let's just talk about something else. Like kind of just like
really
together.
Show you guys
like
our hearts
we don't ever want to come off in a bad light or anything.
Yeah. No, I like that you kind of scratched the surface there. But yeah, to talk about, you know, being human and how it hurts. I think that I've honestly, like if I'm being 100% transparent, like since we started this podcast, life has been hard. And that's like so crazy to put a timeline on the chaos that's been happening. But literally since we started recording, I think it was the first weekend of February, life has been crazy. Minus our like amazing, fantastic vacation. Like life has just been nuts. And yeah, it's come with a lot, I think, of growth and changes. And that's what growth and change is scary, and things are going to fall out of place so that better things can fall together. And that feeling hurts, you know, that uncertainty. Yeah, I don't know. The inconsistency, just the loss of things and sacrifices that you make because we have channeled into being Christian women like so hard since we started this podcast. So obviously things are going to change and it's going to hurt. I mean, so we can kind of jump into like a few things that have been making us feel sad and feel like being human right now sucks. For me, I think I'm exhausted. I'm coming out of a place of exhaustion. Macy is doing a little better at sleeping, but for a while I just was up every 2 hours in the middle of the night, like still crying. Like, why can't I, like, please just sleep. Like, what am I doing wrong? But also on the other hand, like, I'm so tired. I don't want to try to do something different. Like, I just want to sleep. Yeah. So it's just hard. And then like having to work full time. And then I have a 4-year-old to keep up with. So it's just go, go, go. And I love to be busy. So I also am like staying up, being social, staying up with my Bible study, staying up with, we started a group Bible study thing. Like, it's just busy. I have come out of it. The past 2 weeks have been a lot better, I will say. And I have just looked at it as, thank God my hands are full. Thank God my hands are not empty. Mm-hmm. I have just tried to think of it in a better light. Also, Macy has been sleeping a little better, so I will not take full credit there. But so yeah, just been super tired, motherhood. And then another big one that I've been struggling with, which is crazy because we talked about this a few weeks ago, is friendships. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm at a place of my life where I am just like starting to really solidify who my lifelong friends are going to be. And I don't know, I feel like I have felt a lot of hurt recently in some friendships with just them not accepting me where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that hurts because like I will accept them where they're at, you know, and even if it's not the same path as me, I am called to love you and I want to love you the way that Jesus loves you. Well, why can't you love me where I'm at, you know? And I've been struggling with the idea of that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know, I think we talked about this in the Friendship Breakups podcast where God removes people from your life. He heard conversations that I didn't. Also, it's impossible to keep all these friends. Like, if I want to make room for God-loving women in my life, the other friendships are going to fall out, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that I have to stop loving them. It doesn't mean that I have to stop caring about them, because I will always love and care about them, but it just means that we don't serve each other anymore, and that's okay. And I'm going on tangent. I need to stop finding my worth in these friendships. That's my big thing. Yes. Okay, there must be something wrong with me. Why can't I keep friendships? You know, my whole life, I will be completely honest, I have filtered through a lot of friends. I struggle maintaining female friendships. I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of mistakes. But now I'm looking at it at a light where I'm like, wow, here's actually a list of all the friends that I've lost. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's a lot of friends that I have just like gone through. I'm saying that with like air quotes because I don't know. It's just been every friend for a different reason or season. And it's just, I just struggle with like not feeling like there's something wrong with me because like a friendship doesn't work out the way that I want it to. Yeah. No one has 100 best friends though. So why am I like being so hard on myself? Like, I'm fine, you know?
I know. I think though, like, you know, let yourself feel those feelings, of course, and everything like that. But it is cool to see, like, as time passes, your understanding and learning of how the friendships you end up like keeping and pouring into, and just like, you, no matter how you know, how hurt they make you feel or how unworthy they make you feel, like, you are gonna love them no matter what. And that just like strengthens your character so much. And you know, that's what God admires, that you are loving people like Jesus. And like that, there's nothing you can do beyond that. And like, you understanding that, like, I'm proud of you, because I know that's like something we've talked about so many times of like, it's so, I feel like it's not talked about that much, but like, you see on social media, everyone has their lifelong best friend that like, you know, they're a huge friend group and like all these people, and it seems so perfect, but it's like,
and all these like trios and like people being invited. And another, I feel like I'm always hosting, which I love to host, but I'm like, when I take a step back and look at it, I'm like, have I ever been invited to like a Friendsgiving or like a Galentine's? I don't think I have. I think like I have just done it myself. Maybe like the fear of being left out. I've just tried to be the person that brings everyone together because I know how it feels to be left out. Especially right now more than ever because, you know, my priorities are shifting and I'm not the same girl that I was I mean, this time last year I was pregnant, so let's say a year and a half ago, I'm not that same party girl. I'm not that same, like, the things that I want out of life are not the same, you know. And that doesn't mean that I will judge you. I'm not going to judge anyone where they're at. I'm going to love you where you're at, because my love for my friends is unconditional. And that's just what I need to be okay with. Like, God's love for me is unconditional, and that's enough. Like, that's sufficient. I don't need all these people to love me, because I have the one whose love truly matters. Also my kids and my husband. So
true. I mean, it's, you find that, you know, like, obviously once you made that choice, you know, put your feet towards Jesus and ran, like, you have felt more fulfilled in your life, I think.
Exactly.
And that's fine if that fulfillment is different from your friends and you see that. And, you know, I think friends will see who you are. They know who you are. And by you showing, like, your love, and of course, obviously being a good friend, like, and holding them accountable, but also, like, still being like, but I love you, like, anyways, it doesn't matter. I think that just, like I said, it just shows how, like, it's kind of a testament to your faith, you know. And I think it's hard too, because I know they're like, it's, people have been hurt by other Christian people. And I think there's kind of that, like, thing that's like, stigma. That stigma, like, they're gonna judge me, like, they're gonna judge me, but it's like
she's in her Christian era, like, she's not gonna love me for me. And it's like, one, this
You're
isn't
like, let
an era.
me prove it, not the other people who've hurt you. No,
one, this isn't an era, this is my identity. And two, like, let me change that for you. And, like, you also, that's some, we'll wrap this up, obviously, this topic, but, like, I feel like people who have known me for a long time, like, my priorities may be different now, but my heart has always been the same. Like, even before I was a Christian, I've had the same love. I've had the same, like, desire to serve and to, I don't know. So I'm just like, how do you not know my heart better? You know? But
that's so hard to, like,
your loss.
Mic drop.
Just kidding.
I kind of did already, like, open and how I've been feeling lately, but I guess we'll kind of just go about, like, what we've done to overcome, like, deep sadness, anxiety,
so I don't think I've ever actually, like, struggled with depression. I don't want to sit here and say that, like, I've been clinically depressed, because I've never gotten that diagnosis. I mean, there have been lows in my life where I have felt unworthy, and I have felt like I don't want to be here. And I don't know. I've never gone to the doctor for it, anything like that. I think, like, I don't want to speak on behalf of people who are, like, diagnosed with it and things like that. This is just kind of based off of our feelings of deep sadness or being down. I would say, like, just first and foremost, like, overcoming fear and pain should start with faith. Jesus died for us so we can find rest within him. And I think, like, I don't know, I feel like I found this verse, Luke 6:21. It says, God blesses you who are hungry now, for you will be satisfied. God blesses you who weep now, for in due time you will laugh. And I think, like, that's just, it just shows us how, like, God promised us, like, a light at the end of the tunnel. And our faith is what sets us free from that darkness. And I think just simply having faith, again, like we prefaced at the beginning, like, you can be both. You can be Christian, you also can be sad, or whatever it may be. But I think step one is to have your faith. Have hope that you are not always going to be stuck in this bubble or this feeling that you're feeling. I think. Well, and that just kind of ties into what we were trying to say, I think, with the anxiety podcast is you can be anxious, but let's not claim anxiety as your identity. So as Christians, we are called to bring our anxiety and bring our sadness and our depression to Jesus. You know, surrender it all over to him. And a huge thing about being a Christian that is scary is having faith, because it sounds like make believe kind of, but that's the whole thing. Like you have to have faith. Like,
yeah, believing in what you don't see, and believing in what you feel. And you know, I think the next step of that is like reflecting on scripture. I think that's like the way to like remove doubts about what you believe, but also what you believe within yourself. I just feel like having your faith and being so strong in it to then be able to decide, I'm going to look in my Bible right now because I have nothing else to do. I don't know what else to do. And I've been there. Like, I have had those moments of being so deeply sad and like stuck for like days or weeks or months on end. And like, I had no answer. I didn't want to, like, going to therapy, that's scary. I didn't want to like tell anyone about this, but the person who I could tell was God. I could go read what God has to say about this, and I could, you know, like, I feel like the Bible has so much to actually say on that. And I feel like I heard this actually in another podcast, shout out Kenna. She said what was it, off the top of my head, I have it in my notes on my phone, it's something like, doubts lead to questions lead to answers lead to understanding, and then understanding leads to Christ. Answers lead to Christ, answers lead to the truth. And I think like doubts are so special and so important, and if you let them be in a way that leads you to the answer. And I think that has same thing to do with like doubting yourself or who you are or your worth. Like, Jesus died on the cross for you and me and you. Like, like if it was just one of us, he would have done it. And I think that's just like, so anytime I'm like feeling down or unworthy, I'm like, he literally did that for me when he did not have to. And sometimes I'm like, why? Like, why me? But it's like, that's just something I like kind of battle back and forth. But I think, like, again, like I said, reflecting on scripture is so beneficial. And I kind of saw in Ecclesiastes 7:3, sorrow is better than laughter, for sadness has refining influence on us. And I was just kind of thinking, and like, every time I look back on any moment that I was anxious or sad, every time I just have to remind myself, like, I got through it. And that helps me a lot to like realize, like, okay, I will always get out stronger, and I will always get out of that moment. I think it's so hard when you feel so stuck and like it's never gonna get better, it's never gonna, like, without that hope, there's like no way out, it feels like. And so I feel like when I do reflect back on all those times that I felt so broken and so lonely, like I always ended up, you know, getting out of that and feeling stronger for it. And so I don't know, I feel like that verse kind of just helped me with that, of realizing like my sadness and my like anxiety is so powerful and beneficial to me, even though it sucks. Like, it literally is the worst ever. I feel like it's only refining me, strengthening me, and growing me in my faith, in my friendships, in my family. Like, it's only making us stronger.
I like that. The next thing we have is something that I've been working on a lot, which is presenting my requests to God and allowing him to heal me, and just like the power of prayer. I've just been trying to get better at having those conversations with God throughout my day, instead of at night when I'm going to bed, and then I may fall asleep in the middle of praying, which I don't know if anyone else can relate, but praying just for a while wasn't feeling very intentional, and I felt very guilty. Like, when's the last time that I actually talked to God? So, you know, when you are at those low of lows, what you should be talking to, the one thing that's going to get you out of the darkest place is God. Tell him what you need. Be vulnerable with him. He already knows. It's it's your faith that is allowing yourself to be vulnerable and share your feelings and your thoughts and allowing him to heal you. You can't expect to be healed without making your problems known, and that's in like any aspect.
Yeah.
Number 4, Jamie wrote, pray, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And then we have lean on community. Be open to receiving advice. Being open-minded is huge. It's so easy to be like prideful and be like, oh, like, cool, I don't really need your opinions or your advice at this time. Like, I got it. But there's so much fruit in just having a community that you can, you know, find mentorship in and learn from and grow from and all of the above.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of feel like a broken I feel like a broken record kind of, because we're always like lean on community every episode. I know. But that just kind of shows how much good it's done for us, that like we really just like want other people to have that, because I do feel really lucky for that. And I think like stepping out of your comfort zone and finding someone, you know, like a godly friend or whatever that you know will be there for you is so important. I'll kind of share. Last night I went to Unified, which is like basically like a service for college students at the church I go to now, which, update, I have a church now that I feel like I call home. I love it so much. But so I went to that last night, and it was extremely vulnerable last night. It was my first time going to the college one, and I was like crying. We were literally talking about like sad feelings, deep feelings, and specifically like suicide. And they obviously like led up to this, you know, beautiful moment, but they were like, I don't want this to be just some fun, beautiful moment that we, you know, then we leave and just kind of forget about it. And I've kind of been thinking about it like all day, to be honest. And there was a moment they're like, we're going to ask you to be so vulnerable. They kept saying like, we are here. 2 is greater than 1. We are here. And they're like, if you are having any of these thoughts, like raise your hand. If you need someone so badly right now, like raise your hand. And I saw someone like kind of a few rows ahead of me, like he kind of like raised his hand like kind of low, because like not a lot of people were comfortable yet, and more people ended up raising their hands after, but he did. And I immediately like felt so called. I stepped out of my seat and I went over to him, and I just put my hand on his back, because we're all like standing, and I just put my hand on his shoulders. And then everyone like surrounded, and it was a group of us just like putting our hands on him. And the pastors like told him like, put both of your arms in the air and let the other people hold them for you. And I just felt like that was so beautiful in the fact like that is exactly what Jesus does for us. Like the fact that I could be there for that guy last night that I had no clue what his name is, like I felt like, whoa, like I'm here for like, I kind of felt like I had a purpose last night in that moment, because I was like, I felt so ready to be there for a stranger that I had never met, but we were so aimed towards God and like trusting in Jesus that he was going to save him from those thoughts. And I think that's why community is so powerful, because we all just were holding this guy's arms up and praying to Jesus to free him of these thoughts and everyone else in the room. And it was just so moving. I was crying a lot. Everyone was crying. It was just so amazing, because we felt the Holy Spirit. And when you have community, it just helps so much, because he was accepted, and he probably felt so alone. And I've never been in that position, and I can't say that I have. And if you need someone, please reach out to us, like anything like that. But I've never been there, but I just felt all of his sadness as I was holding him. And I felt like we're in it together. And the pastor just kept saying like, we are here. And after I left, I like kind of rubbed his back a little. I was like, we are here. And then I like walked away. It was just so beautiful. Moral of the story, please like count on your community. Like find community if you need it, like that. I have
and he was there. Was he there alone?
Like he was there alone.
Yeah. See, and that's huge too. Like no stepping out of your comfort zone and attending something like that last night might have just saved his life, you know? Like who knows what he's struggling with behind closed doors.
I just got the chills.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I have shared things with like Bible study or you that like I felt not comfortable to share anyone, and I've never left that moment feeling worse.
Yeah,
exactly. I always left that moment feeling supported and not alone. So that's why I think we heavily talk about it every time.
Yeah.
But beyond that,
I wish we could start like a small group with like our viewers,
I know,
or whatever, but we're like everywhere. Yeah, like meet up here.
We could do a meetup at a coffee shop.
Yeah. So if you're down, comment below.
Yeah, please. The next thing we have written down is just like letting go. It's that saying, let go and let God. It is so cringy, but it's so true. Let him work the miracles that he does. He is literally a miracle worker. And I think a lot of times we forget that because we have such like, you know, if we're feeling unworthy and things like that, we're not. It kind of goes back to when you were saying like presenting your request to him is like, let him have that power. Know that he is going to save you and work miracles within you and bring you out of this deep sadness, depression, anxiety, loneliness. Like he literally is a miracle worker. Yeah. I think that's something I personally forget that a lot. Like when I am in those moments, it is so hard to like think. Because sometimes you're like, well, why would God save me though?
Yeah.
But he would.
Yeah.
Read the Bible, every story, he would do it for all of us. So I feel like along with that, at the end, we kind of just have like, allow yourself to feel all the emotions you need to feel. Because that's something I just have recently been learning. Like you do crack at one point.
Yeah.
And I think let yourself feel the emotions so that you are ready for a change to happen in your life. So you do have the hope for God to show up in your life, and you do have the community to support you. And I think I wrote down a verse, 2 Corinthians 6:4. In everything we do, we show that we are ministers of God. We patiently endure troubles and hardships and calamities of every kind. And I think even when you're angry, you're sad, you're upset, you're frustrated, you're excited, you're happy, like do everything in God's name. That's something I think through this podcast I've learned is like, I want to show who God is in everything I do. I'm driving and I have road rage, like have God, like be who God would be at that moment. Like I really have tried to do that. Obviously it's a lot easier said than done. But I just think let yourself be vulnerable. Let yourself feel sad. But do it right next to God. Do it right as like pray to him. Get on your knees and pray to him if you have to. Like I just think it is so important to feel the emotions because it just boils over at some point. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Oh, it's my turn?
It's your turn now.
You got everything out. Something that I didn't write down, but I was like thinking of as you were talking is like just the power of discernment and just knowing that, you know, when you are in those moments of feeling really sad and anxious and depressed, just know that like none of those feelings are from God. Like they're from the enemy. So are we going to sit here and let the enemy have power over us, or are we going to discern that that's not anything that's negative or makes you feel unworthy or unloved or not great is not from God? So like, why are you going to listen to it? Audience of who?
Audience of one. All together
God,
now.
Not Satan. So let's like we're living for Jesus and we're listening to him, and he has, I guess I'm speaking for me, you have like complete power over my life and my thoughts and my actions, and I just want, you know, those moments where I am feeling so sad, I just want to be able to remember that, like what I think and how I feel when I'm in a high, I just want to remember like that when I'm at a low, like, hey, like you told yourself yesterday, you know, when you get here, this is what you need to do to get out of it.
I feel like that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Is like remembering the good feelings that you've experienced while you're going through the trench, like while you're in the trenches. Like I think that's the absolute hardest part. And
But it's just
I'll be so honest, like I haven't figured it out yet. So.
Yeah, no, I think that it's just like, just to be superhuman, like we live in this world with free will. We live in this world with a multitude of sins. Every single day we're partaking in sins. We are allowing ourselves to be subjected to the things that are making us sad and making us anxious, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Where I honestly, this could be a whole different episode, but I feel like we are very like much overexposing ourselves day to day, like with social media, with, you know, trying to keep up with everyone, like we are wearing ourselves out and like spreading ourselves so thin. And it's like, no, being a human shouldn't hurt. So like, stop, you know, like take a step back and just love and feel God and just be happy.
Can we all just be happy? Like, let's
just like chill out.
Like, cut it out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like if you're sad right now, stop.
Hey, Jesus never said it would be easy. So.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think I struggle with being sad more often times than not, and it's just been the past few weeks where I've been able to try to rewire my brain of like, okay, this is a bad moment, but it's not a bad day. Yeah. Like I felt sad in this moment, sure, but I'm gonna like take it and I'm gonna grow from it, and I'm gonna restructure my thoughts about it. And
yeah, I think it's hard too, because it's like in the moments of me being sad, I'm like, I want to be sad right now. Right. I'm like, I want to feel horrible right now, and I want to cry and want to be miserable for some reason. Hopefully that's not just me. Hopefully I'm not crazy.
And I think that it is okay to feel, I think it's okay to let yourself feel everything, but it's not okay to be like, no, I'm just sad right now and I'm going to be sad for the next 5 days. And like, it is what it is.
Yeah. And I think like realizing, no, I don't want to feel this way. Like I rebuke sadness out of my life.
Yeah. I accept that it's going to happen because I'm of this world, but I don't love it. So I'm going to try to avoid it. Yeah. And as a Christian woman, I'm going to bring all of these anxious and sad thoughts to God so he can work on me, and he can really just change that part of me and better that part of me.
Yes, Jesus change us, help us grow.
Jesus saves.
Yeah, so true.
If you don't know now, you know.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, I feel like we flew through that.
Yeah, so true.
It's easy to talk about being sad.
I know. I'm like, guys, listen to everything I have to say. No, I again want to just go back to the fact of like, I don't want anyone to think that we're coming off like we've solved the secret mystery to this, or we have never felt sadness in our lives. Like, if anything, since we started this podcast, it has been hard. Like, we literally, I'm not kidding, like you said, I was like, same. I feel the past 8 weeks or however long it's been, like I feel like I've been going through the trenches, and I think it's because this is what I want to believe, that God's putting us through these hard moments so that we can use them to, you know, endure what's to come and to learn from it, to help our community. And I just hope that what we kind of put out there is what you need to hear, or what someone needs to hear. And I just want it to be like a place where we all are comfortable in knowing that we do not have to be perfect Christians. That's impossible.
Yeah, and if you're looking for that here, like, keep looking.
God. We're just girls talking. Like, let's be so real.
Like, I think I am like the furthest away from like being perfect. Like, I think that I don't know, but maybe everyone thinks
everyone
that.
Is. Yeah, no, we're all not perfect, but that's exactly how we are destined to be. Yeah, and I think just it shows our character doing what we can to better our lives in the light of Jesus. And I think that's just what we're trying to do.
Period.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening.
Well, I have a dinner to get to because it's my anniversary. So
exciting. I get to babysit. Yeah. My favorite.
So
I'm so excited, actually. No, like, I'm actually excited.
I hope she has a big stinky diaper for you.
You better change her before you go.
Birth control, because you don't need to be having babies anytime soon.
Oh, please no. No, it won't happen. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. We do want to say, if you need absolutely anything, please, please, please reach out. Like, we would never judge you, and don't feel scared and act like we don't know you. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, I mean, thanks for like giving two ordinary girls a chance at this. Like, we have no idea what we're doing, but we love you.
Yeah, and we do.
It's been so fun, and we only have one more episode until season 1 is done.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much. Hopefully this wasn't too hard of an episode or deep, but we love you so much.
It was good.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.